Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EURUSD. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video. Okay, let's take a look again at the euro currency and try to find out what could happen and what is going on currently here. Well, in our previous video research on Monday we said that in general, from the technical point of view, market feels significant pressure to the downside, because that is not just level of daily report and not just the target of this swing to the downside. That was the butterfly, by the way. Okay, that is 1618 extension of this butterfly, but that is also weekly significant Fibonacci resistance area and monthly as well, and weekly level of overbought. So if we'll take a look at the weekly time frame, so you could see that is the weekly time frame. Just extend it. Here, 131.50 area. From that high, significant free at resistance, and you can see that is also the weekly overbought. So as you can see, weekly trend strongly bullish, but that is the directional pattern. That is the Napoli pattern that calls stretch. It's a combination of significant resistance and overbought condition. And as you know from the Napoli framework, the direction overall trend. Although this direction pattern is not so strong as, for example, double repo directional, because this pattern is a bit weak due trend that stands in opposite direction. And that's why very often when the market works according to the stretch pattern, it shows some choppy price action against the major trend. So we could say on the weekly time frame we have bearish directional pattern. And in general, as I said, that since the market stands at significant resistance at overbought, this is really explosive combination. It's very difficult, very difficult market in the common condition to break through this area. Well, and it will feel some pressure to the downside. On the daily time frame, it's very common, very similar situation. This is also daily overbought, but here we have the 1618 extension target of the swing to the downside. Okay, it's the 1618 extension, in fact, of this butterfly that we have discussed a couple months ago. So unfortunately on the daily time frame I do not see yet any patterns, any other extensions, targets that we could use for probably by which we could justify entering on the short side of the market. But here I see only the potential for that. Also another directional pattern that could be bread and butter buy or double repo sell. It's very difficult to predict what definitely it will be, but taking into consideration that the market at the weekly overbought, I prefer to see double repo sell pattern or other mishousing pattern that could trigger some downward retracement, since by some other thoughts that we have discussed previously, I expect that retracement should be significant. That's almost all that I see currently on the daily time frame. We see nice thrust, but no penetration of the green line, that is the 3x3 moving average. No retracement has started yet. All that we could see yesterday's trading session was market indecision, so it's nice spinning top, okay, some sort of the doji. Now we see some starting of the move to the downside, but it's just currently it's very shallow move. Here is the weekly pivot points 130.17. That is the weekly pivot support 128.65. That stands very close to the first 3-8 support. But personally I think that this fib support is not very important for us, because recall that market at daily and weekly rebought again. So that's why the first support is not very interesting. But more interesting for us, I suppose, is confluence support area. It's 127.40, 127.35 area. This blue dashed line is the 50% of the thrusting move, thrusting move. That is the working thrust of potential directional pattern. And that will be the minimum target if this will be the double repo pattern. So all that we could do currently is just wait when the market will show shifting of the trend to the downside. If you would like to trade weekly stretch pattern, in this case we need shifting trend to the downside on the daily time frame, wait for the nearest pullback to the upside and enter on the short side of the market. That is the framework, so the method how stretch pattern usually should be traded. Also, we could stick with some patterns that will appear in the nearest future on the daily time frame, but again, currently it's just nothing. We see some sort of consolidation, this doji, but this is just this one trading session, one candle, so it's better to see some further development in this direction. The market will show some real significant patterns that could be used for entering on the short side of the market, or any clear patterns that we could trade according to them. Well, on the 4-hour time frame, there's nothing interesting except maybe that trend has turned to the bearish side. Let's take a look at the hourly time frame. On the hourly time frame, we see very interesting situation. We know the market stands at strong resistance area. Take a look at the price behavior. It stands at some sort of the range, the horizon channel, while a MACD indicator shows bearish trend. Here, by the way, we see small wash and rinse of this swing high. Okay, so you can see some small wash and rinse and returns right back. That also was the stop grabber on the bearish side of the market, but it's a bit unsafe to take this pattern and enter on the short side of the market, because I see very often when price action does not support the trend, when market continue move to the upside, grabbing the stops above the swing highs, okay, and only after that either continue move to the upside or starting real move to the downside. This sort of price action also calls as bullish dynamic pressure, because not every divergence with some oscillator or indicator could tell us about the weakness on the market. That sort of the price action in that combination with this move on the MACD indicator not always leads to the downward move. Maybe today the highs, the odds are greater, since, as we said, market significant resistance. But in general, such sort of combination, when the price doesn't support trend shifting to the downside and stands flat, for instance, while trend has turned to the bearish side, it usually suggests some hidden strength of the market on the opposite direction. That could lead to the, at minimum, to the failure breakout of this channel, since currently we clearly see the highs, and many traders have put their stops above these highs. Okay, that is obvious area, and that divergence very often suggests opposite meaning. It's not just a bearish divergence, but it suggests that market still has some power, and it would show the breakout to the upside, taking out these highs, and only after that probably would start retracement to the downside. Anyway, keep an eye on this current situation, because if market will show, for instance, breakout to the upside, some wash and rinse, this could lead to forming of some candle bearish patterns or something. Maybe we will see on the hourly time frame some reversal patterns that could be used for entering on the short side of the market. This current situation is not in a row with the bullish trend development on the daily time frame, and it's definitely something is going on currently. It's definitely, we should see in the nearest couple of days some pattern on the daily and hourly time frames that probably could add some transparency to overall situation, and probably we could see some bearish patterns. Well, but not be too hasty to enter on the short side of the market, since momentum on the daily time frame is still significant to the upside, and market will not give up just in the moment. So some momentum should be fade out before market will be ready to turn another direction. So that's our current view on the market. The most important for us, the thing that we stand at the significant resistance in daily, weekly level bot, and we should keep an eye on the potential starting point of the retracement. Still, we need to wait a bit more. So we have waited almost during whole week, previous whole week. So it's need to wait a bit more to catch the right pattern and to enter on the short side of the market, or not to enter if this will be really signs of upward continuation. But anyway, some transparency should come, I suppose, in the nearest couple of trading sessions.